Best MMA Knockouts 2022. More than half of 2022 is already over, and we've already seen some truly amazing fights. It looks like 2022 will be another great year for MMA. Most notably, the mixed martial arts competitions that we have been given the opportunity to see up to this point have provided us with some brutal knockouts from some of the promotion's top fighters, making some of those fighters into major celebrities in the process. Fans should naturally anticipate witnessing an increasing number of brutal knockouts as the year 2022 progresses, but it's extremely likely that the more impressive knockouts they have already witnessed will continue to be memorable by the time the year is over. Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to MMA Guru TV. We hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to talk about some of the biggest knockouts that have occurred in MMA so far in 2022. But before we get to that, we would like to ask you to please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our future videos. And let's begin! Number 1 in our list is UFC 274, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Even though there have been some great knockouts so far in 2022, one is miles ahead of the rest. In fact, it's likely to be remembered not just as one of the best finishes of this year, but also as one of the best finishes ever seen in the octagon. The UFC 274 was always going to be a strong card, with 2 title fights at the top, but the lightweight fight between Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson had the best chance of stealing the show. The two men had put on so many great fights over the years that it didn't seem possible that their fight wouldn't live up to expectations. Sure enough, it did. Early on, it looked like El Kikoi, who had lost 3 times in a row and was a bit of an underdog, would win. He went over Chandler in the fight and hit him with several hard blows. Iron Mike was only able to turn the fight around a little by taking Ferguson down. Before Ferguson could even try to attack in the second round, though, the former Bellator MMA champion hit him with a front kick to the jaw that was so hard it turned off his lights right away. This wasn't a pretty front kick like Lyoto Machida used against Randy Couture. It was more like a big boot from professional wrestling. It was such a hard shot that even the president of the UFC, Dana White, looked shocked and said it was the worst thing he had ever seen in the octagon. White often says things that are too strong, but in this case, he probably wasn't too far off. How well Ferguson will get back on his feet after taking such a hit is still a big question, and it'll take something very special for the rest of 2022 to top this knockout. Number 2 is UFC Fight Night 204, Molly McCann versus Luana Carolina. March's trip to London was one of the most memorable UFC events in recent years. The promotion gave out 9 $50,000 post-fight bonuses, which had never happened before because so many of the fights were so good. But even though fighters like Paddy Pimblett, Arnold Allen, and Tom Aspinall put on shows that made them stars, Molly McCann was the one who got the best knockout. Before her fight with Luana Carolina, Meatball had never finished an opponent in the octagon, but it was clear that she had been saving up for a truly memorable finish. After dominating her Brazilian opponent for most of the first 2 rounds, the woman from Liverpool looked like she was on her way to another decision win. Instead, when the 3rd round was almost half over, everything changed. McCann threw a brilliant spinning back elbow that hit Carolina's jaw perfectly and turned out her lights right away. Meatball didn't even have to say anything else because it was clear that Dread was already finished. This knockout not only made McCann a star, but also lit up an already loud crowd, making it one of the best of 2022 so far. Number 3 is Carlston Harris versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, UFC Fight Night 200. The UFC Fight Night 200 event in February didn't get much attention before it happened, but it turned out to be a great show. But the welterweight prospect Shavkat Rakhmonov really stole the show. Before the event, the Nomad had already won twice in the octagon, but most fans thought that the fellow prospect Carlston Harris, who was also 2-0 in the promotion, would be able to test him in a way that no one else had. That wasn't the case at all, which was bad news for Harris. Instead, Mozambique was at the end of one of the most violent and exciting endings of 2022. After a back-and-forth first round in which both fighters fell to the ground for a short time, Rakhmonov went crazy in the last minute. Nomad whipped his leg around and gave Harris a hook kick to the head, which knocked him down. From there, he gave Harris some heavy punches to finish him off. The win not only gave Rakhmonov his first bonus check for $50,000, but it also boosted his career and made him a name to watch in one of the UFC's most competitive divisions. Just put, he can't wait for his next fight, which will be against Neil Magny. Number 4 is Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis, UFC 271. Even though Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker for the middleweight title was the main event at UFC 271, it's probably safe to say that more fans were looking forward to the heavyweight brawl between Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis, which was the co-main event. Between the two of them, they had a strong list of knockouts, and since both of them had crazy endings to fights in late 2021, it seemed like this one would also end in a brutal way. Of course, the fight was exciting, and Tuivasa came out on top. At first, it didn't look like the fight would go that way. After some early grappling and back and forth, the Black Beast stunned his Australian opponent with a flurry of punches, but Tuivasa took them all and started throwing his own. The fight moved into the second round, and this time when the two men fought, it was Bam Bam who landed the better blows, leaving Lewis clearly stunned for a second. When the former title challenger got close, Tuivasa was ready and hit him with a hard elbow to the side of the head. Lewis fell face first to the ground, and Tuivasa didn't even have to hit him again. He did a classic walk-off knockout like his hero Mark Hunt. This was the biggest and best knockout of the Australian's UFC career so far, and it's also one of the best finishes of 2022. Number 5 is UFC Fight Night 201, Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker. When Johnny Walker and Jamal Hill fought in the main event of UFC Fight Night 201 in February, fireworks were bound to happen because of their history in the octagon. Between them, the light heavyweight prospects had 20 knockout wins, 7 of which came in the biggest mixed martial arts event in the world, the UFC. Most fans, though, were rooting for Walker, who had a bit more experience at the top level and had won a number of exciting fights in the past. Instead, it was sweet dreams that gave the fans the ending they were hoping for. It was even worse than anyone could have predicted. Even though they had been trading blows since the beginning of the fight, the two men threw big right hands at each other at the same time. But Hill's shot hit first, and it was hit his Brazilian opponent hard in the head. Walker's lights went out as soon as they were turned off, but in a strange delayed reaction, his arms went up in the air, like in a zombie movie, before he stiffened up and fell backward into the fence. Even though it was clear that that fight was over, Hill gave his opponent one more coffin nail right hand to end the fight in one of 2022's most brutal wars. To say that this was a line from Sweet Dreams would be to say too little. So, I think that's just about going to wrap up today's video. How many of our top 5 fights did you see here in 2022? Have you seen them all? And if you did, would you order them a different way than we did? Or can you think of a fight that we didn't cover in our countdown today that you would put at the top of the list? I think it's going to be pretty hard to beat that Michael Chandler knockout of Tony Ferguson, but if you know of one, please share, because we would love to hear from you. As a matter of fact, if you have any other comments or suggestions for us, make sure you leave them in the comment space below. We always love hearing from you here at MMA Guru TV. If you have any feedback on maybe some other types of videos you'd like for us to feature, let us know. We're all ears, and we always love to hear from you. We truly hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure you like it and share it with all your friends and family. And if we could ask you to do something else, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way you are always updated when we have new updates for you. You can hit that bell icon and you will always be notified when we put some new content up on our channel. We sincerely appreciate you spending time out of your busy day to hang out with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.